When people think about traditional relationships, they often imagine a time when the path to happiness, starting the relationship, staying in it, and staying happy in the relationship was a kind of clearer, more defined paths. Both the man and the woman in the relationship understood their roles a little better. I don't mean that in any condescending way to any party. I just mean when people have like a nostalgia and imagine any former, back in the day it used to be and women wasn't to be like this and men used to be better at this. It's a nostalgia that they have in the past for a time when the paths and the rules were defined better for both parties. In the 1950s and under, there were like different supports and pillars that actually help relationships and just general male-female dynamics survive and thrive a lot better. They were economic dependence, community oversight, and religious or cultural authority. It's easy to forget that what we think about as a traditional relationship wasn't always about two people just coming together and having a shared vision about a life that they want and that they choose. For many women especially, those so-called relationships were often a byproduct of the culture and the community that they were born into that left them few options and even fewer exits. That system is gone now though. Women now have their own income, often more than males' income. Community oversight is replaced by a lot of privacy and private lives. And for many people, the religious authority and the cultural authority is not as strong as it used to be. And when the old pillars and the old scaffolding that we used to use to maintain a relationship has disappeared like it has in the last couple of decades, and even stronger so now, more than ever, the way we used to communicate in male-female dynamics inevitably changes just as much. And the way we have to go about doing these things now is a lot different. And in a way, because the three pillars we talk about, which is the income, dependence, community oversight, and the religious authority, so much value is placed on those things. It is no wonder now that if those things completely gone, the only value that people really think exists now is a lot of status max symbols and looks max symbols to demand respect and authority over women. So you think that you need to come at a really high level now to say that, yeah, you have income independence and you don't need my income, but I have this exorbitant. That is really just using a crutch to think that you could get past and still try to make somebody economically dependent on you as a means of attracting them, and refusing to adapt to the new system and the things that demanded of you now. We shouldn't just be adamant of saying, this is my rule and I have a lot of money and I could take care of you forever. I have this amount of money to give you a soft, comfortable, cushy life, and this is the only value I have as a person to give you. And this is a lot of value, so you should take this because this is the cushy life that you deserve. And think that, only men with that amount of status, maxing, prowess deserve a domestic life partner. Or think that is the only thing that women looking for, because that is, again, just looking at the old pillars that we used to rely on and trying to make it work and lean back on that traditional pillar and refusing to adopt to the new system. In today's world, meeting women from a place of mutual agency isn't just the right thing to do, is the starting line. Without that, you're not even in the game. And it's up to us now to understand how to create real intrigue. So that means understanding how to spark early conversations, openers, how to meet people, how to transition and that slight attraction and curiosity, and then how to build more rapport and comfort after that. Of course, in somebody you're actually interested in. And that is like a new skill set, and plenty men, moms and parents didn't tell them that is something that they had to know to do, because usually a lot of men when they're growing up heard the old storyline, just get a good job, focus on yourself now, and when you have that, women will come naturally. And that don't really happen anymore. So it might look like a new weird esoteric skill set that you might have to learn. And yes, that is more responsibility that men used to carry in dating and relationships than the decades gone by. Or it's not even there's more responsibilities, things that they weren't prepared or never thought that they had to know. And some of it feels awkward and even complicated, and that's too esoteric and taboo to learn, but is a kind of responsibility and skill that you need to have in the new world, or you're just going to be trying to force yourself to become like a really loaded person, too much money to be irresistible. But the question is, you're not going to be irresistible to everyone. It's like, who are you going to be irresistible to? And that person is really like limited the choices. Too small into the people that you shouldn't be only limiting the choices to. Relationships today need to be built, and most times it should be started by the man. I mean, like I know, because I do weddings and events, I know a lot of good relationships actually was started by the women do the approach, but that is too little. Like this is good relationships that didn't come from the culture or the religious root, right? And that is just too open for too much to thinking that women should approach you and they have the responsibility. So it's really a responsibility of men to know to go after what they want and stop this being timid and cautious and hoping that women will approach and hoping that they need to get enough like cars and money and wealth and stuff for women to approach, or muscles. Because I find like the muscles thing too. When men get muscles, they just think that they don't need to approach more. They just get a little more entitled, a little more stuck up. And it's like, yeah, they might be developing the physical side of things, but thinking that you don't need to develop anything else. So the manosphere will keep preaching that, it just looks max, status max and stuff like that. But really and truly, that's not leaving you with the options that you're not leaving you with enough cards to play and enough skills to use to get the options that you really want in life. In the new choice-based world that we live in now, where women don't have economic dependence, religious authority, cultural authority, and the community oversight that forces them to do things, that means risking a no that could be a yes, and demanding attraction that you don't need to buy, demanding the skills for the attraction that you don't need to buy, and demanding and understanding the calibration needed to get that skill. And even more than this, the real thing is that they have multiple cognitive science studies that show that strong, authentic connections with people that you didn't buy the trust and attraction with linked to 2 times the dopamine rewards and life satisfaction in general. That it shows a 0.44 correlation factor in relatedness. People with romantic partners that they truly trust and appreciate and they do think is something fake, like love, that correlation is 4 times the amount of life satisfaction than people report for having a salary increase of up to 2 times the amount that they usually have, that they have currently. So you're looking at, you can double your salary, double your net worth, and don't get as much dopamine and life satisfaction as just having somebody. Don't get even quarter of the life satisfaction as even having somebody that you truly care about. Or care about you, most importantly. Not just in the psychology studies and stuff, but in history. Anthropologists like Helen Fisher also found that as societies move towards a choice-based economy, not on dependency, not on economic dependence of one person, but having more choice in a family unit or in a society, the relationships also move towards choice-based systems instead of economic systems. So it's just either you accept that there is this economic society that you're living in and get and understand the new skills and the new things that you need to learn, or you crave a culture and a society which still exists that women would be financially dependent on you. But it's also important to recognize that real intimacy is not just recognizing a person as an object that dependent on you, but realizing that the other person is a subject on their own, a full subject just like yourself. So you should never aim to have somebody, a subjective experience, to be less than yourself and for them to be dependent on you and you to be the main character and them to just be somebody that need you, because that is what society moved away from in the first place. When society advanced and went into a more modern society where people had more choice. So trying to aim for something like that and wish for something like that upon your domestic partner and like crave this kind of, because I know a lot of the MGTOW crave the traditional relationships and crave the time where women knew the rules and stuff like that, and men could coast through life a little more and didn't have to work on themselves and didn't have to be better. But that's just how it is. And you can't look to go back to the past in order to have less thoughts for you to exercise in your life and less ways for you to develop yourself. I know that a lot of, in the comments, a lot of guys think that is because of this kind of nature of how it's structured now, and so much thought and so much, agency women have, and so fickle it is, and so much tests you have to go through and stuff. It's easier just to work on yourself and don't make women the subject and the main priority. So just work on yourself, and women will come and go and stuff like that. But I understand the point you're coming from. But apart from the dopamine, life satisfaction and real intimacy, and the dopamine only there when you're getting, when you feel like you're really cared for, it's like you can't make, if you can't make a woman the object of, like, she dependent on you, so she need you. The solution to that is not to say that you would just use women temporarily and they will come and go, because women weren't meant, relationships between men and women for society wasn't meant for a woman to come and go. So then you're saying, okay, for children, you're saying that you're not going to have any lasting relationships, it's not possible. So you just rather father children and have women come and go, and because you can't deal with the stress of the relationships, or you can't bring yourself to deal with the stress of relationships. So you're saying you prefer single parent homes, you prefer children to be without the both parents. Apart from that too, because I don't even want to make it about children or anything, it's more about yourself, more or less. That kind of relationship where women is just something that it's not good for either party, because the same men would judge women for having many sexual partners, but the same men will look down on women for being fickle and for being flighty, but then they will do the same thing also to be a sexual partner of a woman, and just let it go, leave, and never ever had the intention of being with her for longer than just a come and go if you want kind of thing, and I not really want to invest in you fully, or I have no intention of investing in you fully or deeply to make it work. It's just like, you like it or take it or leave it, come and go if you want, and that is just how I am. It sounds like the easy way out. It sounds easier, but what you have to remember is it's not good for society in general. It's not a good philosophy to have. And it's not just the woman that hurts, and you're also hurting yourself with the shallowness of a relationship. I think where it actually based on is leaving yourself in a state that's not invested enough to feel rejection and to feel hurt and to feel left and to feel like you were the one that she said she can't make it work with. So instead of facing that rejection, you want to be the one to reject first. And it can't come down to that. It can't come down to who able to be more shallow and to reject who first and who willing to walk away first. It have to start somewhere where both parties able to work on things that with each other. And I know women, for the most part, not willing to invest in a man and be intimate with him and just walk away and make that a game. Even though men might think women want to do that, and it might appear so from all the Manosphere interviews and reports and stories and stuff like that. But what you have to remember is, people tend to put up stories and interviews and stuff like that, get the most engagement and make the most uproar and make men comment and share and say, see, this is why I not invest into women, I focus on myself. But that is not the majority. That is not what's really happening. And focusing on the worst case scenario and broad stroking everybody as that is really a sad thing to do. But that is a topic I want to do in our next talk, because I have a lot of more ideas. I want to talk about that separately. And this talk I really just wanted to focus on the pillars of society that we used to rely on that made traditional relationships work, and moving away from that naturally. The community oversight, religion, and economic dependence, to understand why traditional relationships really not around like it used to, and to stop yearning for the nostalgia of it, and learning to face life as it is in the modern world, and learn the skills that you have to learn. You know, these weird enough, these skills that they had to learn was 25 years ago was the only things that was in the Manosphere. Manosphere was this, but I don't know what happened and why Manosphere just looks maxed and status max now. I think it's because some of the guys in the old school pickup community were really crude and weird on social media themselves, and caused themselves and the whole community to get cancelled. And that didn't serve anybody there in the long run. When the mainstream media and the news came out and just say, you know what, these guys are the biggest pests in the world, because men were just having a fun and joking around and being crude, sometimes just for the wildness of it, and it really didn't represent the intention of most of the men in the community. So until the next time, ask me, you know, opening because that community thing in the first place, I don't even want to start to begin to talk about those stuff on YouTube publicly. Some of those stuff on the book, and I opening because I know people are reading. I opening a private thing on my website so that people could see talks on those particular topics privately. But same website, check out the link for the book and subscribe, and you'll get the link as soon as those videos about the pickup community goes live. Thank you.